Today we're going to make Wonder-Buns. I don't know that that's the official name for these, but these are really amazing and really wonderful. I first found this recipe or a version of it on celiac.com, the forum for that site, and also in the Celiac Sprue Association newsletter. It was in there too. And you make these buns in the microwave in only 90 seconds. So start to finish, you can have a bun on your plate, a bun for a sandwich, in less than 5 minutes. I have changed it around a little bit. The original recipe called for brown rice flour, which is fine. I have made it with, today we're going to make it with sorghum flour, which I like even better. I've made it with teff, and teff flour is wonderful. It gives it a really rich brown color. I don't have teff flour today, but it works well. I imagine it, I've also made it with millet flour and with millet seeds, and you get a lighter blonde colored bun, and that's useful for sometimes too. Okay, I want to go through the ingredients. We're going to have an egg, we have the sorghum flour, we have cocoa, and this cocoa, you don't taste it, but it gives it a brown color. Because we're cooking it in the microwave in only 90 seconds, it doesn't have time to get brown like other things that are baked in the oven for a longer period of time. We're going to use molasses. The original recipe calls for sugar. Molasses has more antioxidants and a little bit and more nutrition. Sugar doesn't have any, really, except calories. The molasses works really well in this recipe. We're going to use baking powder to raise it up. Almond meal. And if you don't have almond meal, you can just take sliced or slivered almonds and run them through a coffee grinder or a spice mill. And that's what I did here. I didn't have you don't have to go buy another whole ingredient. This is flaxseed, ground flaxseed, and I use ground flaxseed all the time. This also was done in my spice mill. This is a non-stick spray that does not have any wheat or gluten in it. And these are sesame seeds. This is another addition to the recipe that I did. This recipe almost looks like it's steamed when it comes out of the microwave, and I just think it looks better with the seeds on it. That also gives it more nutrition and more flavor. You can use caraway seeds if you want a rye kind of flavor. You could use poppy seeds. I've made it with whole cumin seeds. That's really wonderful. So a few little changes to an already good recipe. And we're going to get started right away. So you start with one egg and you break it into your bowl and throw the shells in the sink. I'm a pretty good shot. And mix it up until it's thoroughly mixed. And then I'm also going to add here the molasses. This calls for 3/4 of a tablespoon of molasses, which this particular measuring set actually has a 3/4 measure on it. Amazing. But most don't. And then it would be a 1/2 and a 1/4, or not completely full whole. And I'm stirring this in with the egg because it's a liquid ingredient. And it works, just mixes in easier that way. Alright, just that quick. There we go. We have our liquid ingredients. Then for our dry ingredients, I'm going to set that aside. Okay, for the dry ingredients, back to our sorghum flour. And you want this easy to measure. You want it to be flat like that, and it's 2 tablespoons of sorghum flour, like so, and 1 tablespoon of almond meal, and this is a little clumpier. Okay, that goes there, and 1 tablespoon of ground flaxseed over there, and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And here you want to put the baking powder on your measuring spoon and then drag it across this handy little top, and you get a nice smooth top, and then a 1/2 teaspoon. And the molasses we already put in, and the cocoa powder is 1/2 teaspoon of cocoa powder. And this one, I just pull it across the top like that. And so then the other, that's kind of sticky. The other thing about mixing these ingredients is the original recipe called for beating up the eggs and then just putting everything into the liquid ingredients. And sometimes they don't mix very well, and you get a clunk of cocoa or a clump of baking powder. I think it's worthwhile just to take the extra minute or so to mix up all the dry ingredients so that they're evenly distributed before you put them in the wet ingredients. So it just takes a minute. Then you can also see if your baking powder is a little bit clumpy, you can put your finger on there and break up the clumps. Otherwise, if you get a chunk of baking powder in your mouth, it is not pleasant. It doesn't taste good. Okay, so that's ready. Next thing we do is prepare this is our pan. This is a 10-ounce custard cup. They come in different sizes too. This, if you want to make a hamburger-sized bun or a sandwich-sized bun, use one of these. If you want to make 2 small dinner roll size buns, use a 6-ounce custard cup. But I'm going to spray this with a nonstick spray, and here I'm going to put seeds in the bottom of this and on the top. The buns come out of the microwave and they look a little kind of steamed, kind of moist and wet, because they're not baking, they're not drying out. They actually are steaming in the microwave, and I just think it looks a whole lot better with the seeds on there than sort of a soggy looking thing. Okay, so there's the seeds. Here we're going to put our egg and molasses mixture in with the dry. And I like to use a silicone spatula just because I can scrape things really well. I'm just mixing this, stirring it up till it's thoroughly wet. All the dry ingredients are mixed in. And it's smooth. They'll mix in at first in sort of clumps, but work it a little bit and get it smooth. And I've got some stuck here on my spatula. All right. Now, I'm going to scrape this into my custard cup, and I'm going to try to get all of it out of this red mixing bowl. All right, and you can take a knife a little bit and try to, if it's lumpy on the top, you can try to smooth it. It may come out lumpy anyway. Just so you know. Alright, and now, again, to improve the appearance and the flavor, I'm going to put some more sesame seeds on the top. And you have a sesame seed bun. How about that, gluten-free? It's not white. It's brown. I love them brown. It's whole grain, hearty. Although, this is a nice light texture. I have had some gluten-free buns that were really heavy. This is really very nice. Okay, that's your total preparation. I'm going to put it in the microwave, and I'll see you back here in 1.5 minutes. Okay, it's hot. And you can see that it's filled up. It's a nice size. You can easily pop that out of your custard cup, just like so. And it's ready to eat. It's absolutely ready to eat. I actually, though, like to do them a little bit ahead and let them dry off a little bit. I'm not sure if you can see that it looks a little moist on the side there. Ready to eat, although it's too hot to put to build a sandwich on. But ready to go. That quick. It's a wonder. Okay, it's cooled off just a little bit. I want to cut it in half so that you can see how nice the texture is inside. And I have a bread knife. You can use a bread knife, or you can use a steak knife. Any kind of knife that's got a serrated edge, that's got this scalloped edge, makes it easier to cut. Not that it's difficult, it's just that that's specifically what these are for. Alright, so I'm just going to put it on its side and cut through. There you go. There you can see the wonderful fine texture. Let's see, we'll go like that so you can see the top and the bottom. Perfect for a sandwich. Enjoy!